It's day 50, an amazing day, and thank you all. And of course, I'm very grateful to God for having created this opportunity for us to learn to co-create this knowledge together. And when I say co-create, I mean it's not just me. We are co-creating it together. Some of you have been contributing your own ideas. Some of you, go to breakout rooms and reveal insights. So I'm really grateful. And today we want to talk about Self-Esteem Accelerator 2.0. I was thinking about what should be an appropriate day 50 session, and it occurred to me that we had not talked about self-esteem in detail. Of course, some things have dropped in here and there, but self-esteem is one of the most critical pieces for success in any endeavor, whether life in general, or as a professional, or business, or relationships. Because without high self-esteem, then a lot goes wrong. With high self-esteem, a lot goes smoother. Not perfect, but much smoother and much, much faster. And I will be sharing with you those insights shortly. Okay, let's rock and roll. Now, again, I look at 5 segments. The clarity, it's really about the what and the why, then the mindset, the strategies, the skill sets, and the mastery. So that's what I focus on. So let's kick off with the clarity part about self-esteem. So here are some key definitions. Here, when we say positive self-esteem, we mean high self-esteem. Or when we say negative, we mean low self-esteem. And this is really about feelings that we have about ourselves. When you talk about your levels of self-esteem, it's about what sort of feeling or self-concept, not even self-concept, but how you feel about yourself. That's the core segment of what we are talking about. Now, there are 3 sub-components. Number 1 is the belief and confidence in your own ability and value. Okay, that's one of the components. The other component is also how you feel about yourself in general. That's the second component. And the third component is confidence and satisfaction in oneself. Now, when we talk about these 3 components, what do we really mean? We really, if we were to summarize them under fewer words, would say that belief and confidence in your own ability and value, it's really about positive pride, okay? Positive pride. Let me enable transcription, okay? All right, so, and then how you feel about yourself is really about self-regard, or how do you, well, regard is a regard. How do you conceive of how do you perceive of yourself? I beg your pardon. Then confidence and satisfaction, especially the satisfaction in oneself. When we say satisfaction in oneself, the core 2 words are really self-worth. So why is self-esteem important? Why bother about this subject? And why should we really pay attention to this critical subject? Number 1 is self-esteem enables you to like and value yourself as a person, as a human being. You value your life. You value your being here on planet Earth. Let me give you a clue. The lowest level of self-esteem is suicide. So meaning the person does not value their life. I mean, they don't believe they are worth even staying here on planet Earth. So when we talk about valuing yourself as a person, that's extremely positive, and the extreme negative is really one taking their own life. With high self-esteem is that you're able to make decisions and assert yourself and confidence in your own ability and value. Talking about your own ability and value, which we'll talk about a little later, you see, this notion of value is something that is intangible. But when we say ability, then of course that's something that is learned, but the value is something perceived. It's how you perceive of yourself. See, and part of perception really comes from you knowing that you are valuable regardless. Okay. With high with great self-esteem, or why this subject is critical, is that you're also able to recognize your strength and positives in this case. So you're able to figure that one out when you master this particular subject. You also feel that you're able to try new or difficult things. Of course, I don't like that word try. My clients know that I almost abhor that word try. You're able to start. Let's use the word start. To start new or difficult things. Start new or engage in difficult things or challenging things, okay? Because the word difficult is also relative, as you can imagine. With great self-esteem is that you also show kindness towards yourself and others. And that notion of showing kindness to self is a biggie. It's something I believe in very strongly. I've hinted on either directly or indirectly in other segments. So that's the starting point for us to appreciate self-esteem. All right, Favored here has received enough votes to deserve a coaching session, and something that, I mean, this person gets into the room by the time I click. Like today, I opened the room a quarter before, 15 minutes before time they were in the room. Now, Dorothy has said something I believe in very strongly. Dorothy says, choice of name matters here, parents and parents to be. Her name says it all. Absolutely, because I'm not given an offer like that, but you know, Favored. That person is favored. So congratulations, Favored. You win yourself a coaching session. So either Nathan or may favor be favored. I like that. Yeah, so you win yourself a coaching session. Now, let's look at the mindset side. Let's look at the mindsets that shift your self-esteem. Now, a few of these or some of these I've hit on them or highlighted them in some of the programs. But most importantly, again, even if there's something you've had me say related, I mean, repetition is the mother of mastery. So that's fine either way. So number one is the optimistic mindset. Glass half full, always believe that things will be better, that things can get better. You know, when it is gloomy outside, just tell yourself that it means it's going to be sunny. The next level is sunny. That when you're down, the next level is up. Glass half full. So you're thinking, okay, what is positive about? What is good about it? But what else could be good out there tomorrow? What else? What else? What else? So it's like you have to be on your toes, just expectant. You have to be in expectant mode. And please write that one down. Be in expectant mode. You see, negative people are in give up mode. You have to be in expectant mode. And that expectant mode makes you feel good. Remember, self-esteem, we said, it's how you feel about yourself. When you're in an expectant mode, you feel good. You feel better. Your vibration is lighter. You're excited, and when you're excited, there are lots of possibilities, my friend. And people love being around optimistic people. You don't want to be among those who spread negativity, because one of the keys around self-esteem is you need to get people around you that are energizing and invigorating. And one of the ways to do that, of course, is for you to be an energizing and invigorating person. If you want, so one of the ways to boost your self-esteem is get optimistic people around you, positive people around you, and to attract positive people around you, you have to be positive yourself. Give what you want to receive. The other key is internal locus of control. This mindset helps you to focus on your own efforts and abilities. You're not relying on someone else. That's why I always recommend, if you've done something great or something amazing, look at yourself in the mirror, say, yes, I also discovered, I never carry, you can look at yourself in your phone. When it's dark or whatever it is, then you can just look at it, you'll be able to see. And if you're a lady, most likely you have a small mirror. Look at yourself, yes, you did, yeah. Yeah, and there are people who even recommend, have yourself, you're focusing on yourself. That's internal focus. That is the internal locus of control. I beg your pardon. I'm excited, and I'm even eating some of the words. See, I'm super excited about this topic. That's why I wrote the book many years ago, Confidence and Self-Esteem Secrets Exposed. If you go to Amazon, you should be able to find it. If you're in Uganda, you can go to Aristoc. So the key, because I believe it's one of the key things that we really need to master. So you're focusing on yourself, on what you can do, because when you feel that you're in charge of your life, it makes you really, really feel good. And when you feel that someone else is in charge, that you're not in control, you feel bad about yourself. And my encouragement to you is that you ought to feel good. Next is the growth mindset. You need to shift from I can't to how can I learn? How can I learn to do it? How can I figure this out? Now, my daughter, who is 7, I usually, when she says, oh, but I can't do this, I'm like, no, that's not a good word. Saying, I did figure out how I can do this. Because I want her to, my prayer is that she can adopt the mindset of how can I do this rather than I can't. Talking about which, when I was young, when I was around the age of 16, I was in senior 4. So my father, he had bought for me a watch, and something had broken, and then not broken, it's something had popped out. Then he said, why don't you fix that? I said, I can't. And then he talked to me in our local language, in Runyankore, and he said, ekintu ekitali kugamba kikuremwa arukugamba, that which can't speak, direct translation, that which can't speak cannot beat that person who speaks, meaning an inanimate thing cannot beat an animate thing, or an animate being, I beg your pardon, not thing, but being. So, and that is, so he wanted me to move away from the concept of I can't. And one of the best ways you can do that is say, how can I? How can I do this? How can, and even when you are engaging your team members or your children or someone else, when they say, I can't, you say, okay, how can you? If you could do it, what could you do? Okay, so then that opens up possibilities. So that's the growth mindset. My favorite is I'm a child of God and therefore I am okay. If you're a child of God, if you believe that you're a child of God, then trust me, that is the core basis. That's the core being. You're made of special stuff. That, for me, that was a turning point for me to boost my confidence and self-esteem. I reminded myself, I remembered that indeed it occurred to me that, okay, if I'm created in God's image, then surely I must be great. And I liked how Dorothy Opanye reminded of us of something, saying, look, image of God does not the physical appearance, it means the spirit, your spirit. God is spirit. So if you're spirit, you're a spiritual being having a human experience. Indeed, like I usually say, you're a spiritual being having a human experience. And if you're made of the holy stuff, if you're made of God's spirit, and if this is special stuff, this is not something you play around with. This is not this, you see, how we kill our self-esteem is self-inflicted, or we allow other people to inflict we allow other people to diminish who we are. But you see, something spiritual cannot be diminished. It cannot be destroyed. It never dies. It is what it is. You're made of special stuff. My friend, if you can get that and feel it in your being, then no one can take it away from you. You will feel it. You will celebrate it. You will sing about you. You will thank God for you. You will eat and celebrate and sleep thanking God. You will wake up thanking God. You will walk thanking God, knowing that you are made of special stuff, that indeed you're a child of God. And do not let anyone mess you up. Do not let someone's limitation be part of your history. Create your own story. You and your God are enough. And if you get that, what I've just said in the last 1.5 minutes, my friend, it is finished. It is done. You are strong. You walk boldly. You look at people in the eyes and know that you are not just one being. You are not just a person in human flesh. You are a spiritual being of unimaginable abilities, insurmountable abilities, insurmountable special qualities. You're here on a special mission. You know, when people go as ambassadors wherever they go, they say, "You are excellency." They say you are excellency. Now, let me ask you a question. Those are ambassadors. They represent the interests of a nation. But guess what? You're representing the interests of God. Yes, yes, you are representing the interests of God. You are God's ambassador. Once you know that you are God's ambassador, it is finished. It is done. This is not just me speaking. If you are spiritual, you should be feeling what I'm telling you right now. This is God speaking to us right now. Wake up, get out of that, get out of the blinders. Then don't let anyone limit you to start saying. Some of us have grown up from stories, from places where we're given wrong names, bad titles, bad history, bad reports, and that becomes your identity. And I'm telling you, this is the day when everything changes. And if you ever land on this video, I want you to share it with the rest of the world, because I'm telling you, it is high time that human beings, that we stop even calling ourselves human beings, but spiritual beings, ambassadors of God who deserve to be celebrated, not decimated, because many people have decimated people's self-esteem and confidence. And if you've been part of that group, please stop it from now onwards. Make a 360-degree turnaround, and it starts with you, my friend, by knowing I am a child of God, and I'm okay. I am complete. I am enough. I may have messed up. I may have made a mistake, but that doesn't mean a thing. Either way, you are a child of God. Just because your child has made a mistake does not stop them from being your child, your son or daughter. You know that. You and I know that. We've made mistakes before our parents, but our parents never give up on us, because either way, your flesh and blood and spirit as part of your parents. And I'm telling you, God's love is unconditional. Please do not be deceived. God's love is unconditional. I do not believe in this concept of people, of God being angry with us. And no, God, what is unconditional love? I have my children here. They may make a mistake and all, but you know what? That doesn't take the love away. God's love is never ending. If it's unconditional love, it's never ending. So please, because sometimes when we make mistakes, we feel small, we feel tiny, we feel gross. And I'm here to tell you that regardless, God's love is unending, untouchable, infinite. And as a child of God, you are special. And I'm saying that because I know the moment I discovered that secret, the moment I got that revelation, my life turned 360 degrees, because I grew up with very low confidence, with very low self-esteem, from a poor background, with just shorts with holes at the back, a victim of jiggers, living in a small room, received all sorts of negative things you can think about, lost my parents and all that. So I always felt like a second-class citizen. But now, the moment I discovered that, things changed. And that's my prayer for you. Second mindset. Not second mindset, the next mindset. The self-comparison mindset. Compare yourself with who you were yesterday, not with others. Because when you just keep looking at at other people, it can be very, very costly. But my friend, when I look at myself where I was even yesterday, then I'm reminded that, you know what? Yes, you're making progress. You're a better person. At least if nothing, you are wiser. Now, some of you might say, but Ethan, you know, last year was a better year for me. Yes, it could have been. I'm sorry if you're feeling bad, but I'm also here to tell you that you are definitely a wiser person today than you were yesterday. And with that wisdom, nothing is out of reach for you. Next is that what occurs to you doesn't define who you are. Again, I will quote again from my book that just making a mistake does not make you a mistake. No, not at all, and never. It was just a mistake. You are this, again, I go back to my definition here. You're one special being who committed a mistake. You're a child of God who committed a mistake. That doesn't mean that you can't learn from it and get better. No, that is wisdom. You learn from it, you become better, but that's not a definition of who you are. You're still a special being who. So you need to separate actions from your core, from who you are. Capture that. Dorothy Pine says, the power of the tongue, negative statements like I'm finished, I don't know what to do, this poverty will kill us, my cough and headache has begun, makes us magnify the situation and lose hope rather than find solutions. I agree with you. Emily says, I know who I am a child of God. Yes, yes. Absolutely, you are indeed. And Oluma has reminded us of Ephesians. Oluma Emmanuel has reminded us of Ephesians 3:20. Now unto him that is able to do exceeding abundantly above all that we ask or think, according to the power that worketh in us. Okay, great. Juliet Weiss says, I should compare honor to myself because the word says, let who lacks knowledge ask of the Lord who gives generously to all without limitation. Yes, meaning you go to God and God becomes the standard. Someone had talked of godly standard. Yeah, that was Juliet Steele. So you ask of God. Yes, 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 yes. Let's look at some strategies that will improve your self-esteem. Number one, self-improvement, self-development in both soft and technical skills. Yeah, you need to work on yourself, okay? So yes, we are children of God, and being a child of God does not mean just praying and you stay there and you do nothing. No, that's what we are co-creators, and you create by recreating yourself. Before you can create new things, you have to recreate yourself as a new being, and you recreate through self-development, both at the soft and technical skill level. That's extremely important. Value self-improvement. So that's why I honor you for engaging in sessions like this, and even more. That's why I spend my biggest budget goes towards self-improvement, because I know when I'm better, I attract better opportunities. That's why I always encourage people, please never look at coaching or mentoring, whatever you're spending, as an expense. It's an investment, because you can only achieve who you are. You don't get what you deserve, you get who you are. And who you are, part of it is who you are being in terms of mindset, in terms of skill set, all that. So self-improvement is very, very critical. The environment. Manage the environment in which you live. Positive people, positive information. Say no to negativity. Stay away from it. And you will be amazed. It takes me ages before I can say, check out newspapers or something like that. If I'm passing by a store, for example, just look at the headlines just to get an idea of what's going on. But it's also on purpose. And I say, but won't you miss critical information? Yes, I do. Sometimes I would imagine so. And I also believe if it's very, very important information, someone else will tell me about it. That's my assumption. I'm not saying that you have to adopt my extremism on that front, but that's something I've chosen to do. And some of us are in industries where you must know what's in the news. So I'm not saying that this works for everyone. We have to be realistic on this matter. So, be choosy what you process. But that's part of the environment. So the people you engage with, it could be some people they are not going to take you to another level, so to speak. So if they are not going to, raise you to a higher level, then you might as well either stay away or expand your environment to make sure that you have new reinvigorating people. Next is you have to be forward. The other strategy is the forward-looking strategy. No to self-pity. Learn from past failures, but don't dwell on them. Start creating the future that you want to see. Dorothy earlier was talking about crying about spoiled milk. It's spoiled, it's gone, it's finished. So you crying and kicking the bucket of milk and spilling it over and cursing it and sliding in it does not help, my friend. Move on. The train has left. The train has left. Jump onto the bus, all right? And still create the future that you want to see, because you can't just get onto the bus or get onto the plane. Create the future. Now, the other strategy is the sense of achievement strategy. Set achievable goals. Celebrate the small wins. Count your blessings. Build onto the small successes. That's why I love that song, Count Your Blessings. That's why in this series, we've been playing it. It's like a theme song, Count Your Blessings, especially like that portion of one by one. Sometimes you are waiting for the big things to feel good, to feel great. And I'm saying, no, if you count your blessings one by one, you'll be amazed at the thousands, if not millions of blessings you've had up till now. Because even you being born, that alone is a miracle. It is a blessing. Because other children that were born at exactly the same time or the same day or the same year didn't make it. So you being born, being alive, that alone is a blessing. So therefore, you need to start counting and counting. I know I keep talking about this, but sometimes I need to say it several times from different corners such that you get it. Today I was off the call. Those of you who have been with me know that I do not recommend for you to do things that I'm not doing. And if I'm not, I will tell you that I'm not doing this, though I've heard that it's a good idea. But for coaching, I spend a lot of money on coaching. And one of my core mentors, whom have been not my core, my main mentor and coach, over 7 years now. So we're on a Zoom meeting at 2. And he said, just need to stay in a thankful mode. Ethan, sometimes you're not thankful enough. Yeah, you're not. And I said, yeah, you're absolutely right. I need to remember that. So you just need to be thankful. You just need to let's find ways to be thankful every day. And when you are thankful every day, you feel good, you smell good, you walk good, you speak good, you sit good, you sleep good, and you wake up good. And that goodness will only vibrate through you. And eventually you indeed feel good about yourself. So back to sense of achievement also. Achieve something. At the end of the day, achieve something. See, when you achieve something, it makes you feel good. And the other thing that I've noticed about setting achievable goals, one of the mistakes I used to make was to have set so many goals, and then comes at the end of the day or end of the year, and I've achieved a very small percentage. So you'd rather set a few goals, but achieve them. So if you notice that, because also when you set so many goals and then you have a very small percentage, then you feel bad about yourself. That doesn't mean that you cannot aim for bigger things. What I'm saying is, just be wise. And I'm not going to set a rule around that, because we have different abilities and we have different contexts. So what is small for me might be big for you. And what is big for me might be too small for you. But what I'm saying is set goals, and also every day set a goal to achieve something. One of the wise thinkers put it this way, that when you wake up, first thing, make your bed. At least you have achieved something. Now, it might sound laughable, it might sound tiny, but guess what? At least you made a bed. You made your bed to look good, and that makes you feel good about that. At least you've achieved something. Next, relations. Make friends who make you better, okay? So, meaning, be careful of who you become friends with, because then they are going to impact your overall self-concept. So who are your friends? Choose them carefully. And part of what you could do also is sit down and write, okay, what qualities of friends, what are the qualities I want to see in my friends? And then start developing those qualities. Then you'll start attracting those personalities into your life. The other key is acceptance. Be honest with yourself. Accept who you are. Embrace your uniqueness. Acknowledge your imperfections. Let go of the judge in you. This is one of the most critical pieces, apart from the child of God. For me, the acceptance segment is at least among the top 3. Accept who you are. Because guess what? You are okay. Instead of talking, recently I was talking to someone. He hadn't delivered something, and then he said, I think I'm just a lousy person. I was like, stop calling yourself lousy, my friend. Why are you calling yourself lousy? You're unique. You're not lousy, you're just a unique being. You're a unique person. Now, my daughters, they are different, very different. None is better than the other. They are just unique, amazing angels. They are just unique and different. So acknowledge your imperfections and acknowledge and celebrate your perfections or great things. So let go of the judge in you and instead accept, be accepting of who you are. When people say you're weird, when people look at me and say that you're weird, and I used to feel bad about it, and now I say thanks for the compliment. Yeah, because weird means I'm just unique. Why should I be ordinary? You see, if you are ordinary, if you're just like anyone else, then someone is not going to use the word weird. Okay. If you're just like everyone, why should you be like everyone else? If your DNA is different, your thumbprint is different, why should you be like everyone else? That doesn't make sense to me. Uniqueness is the most natural thing in my view, because God created all of us to be unique. We don't have to be exactly the same. Of course, there are certain fundamental laws and rules that we should follow, like, being respectful, being honest, and all that. That's a standard, and it's a godly standard anyway. But other than that, why should you be like everyone else? You are a unique being. Unique thumbprint, unique DNA, unique abilities, unique gifts and talents. And that's okay, and that's fine. Do not fight to be like everyone else. If anything, fight to stay unique. And guess what? Society always wants to bundle us into one basket. And if you're not just like this, everyone else, then there's something wrong with you. And I'm here to say, if you are fighting to be just like everyone else, then there's something wrong with you that you need to correct immediately and celebrate your uniqueness. And that means, that's one of the core things, is you will discover. I shared this story, I believe, under the confidence program. Those of you who have access to the recordings, make sure you listen to the confidence program also. I'll share this story again because for me it's very relevant to what I'm just saying. When I was in my late 20s, I was at an event, and there was this General Ivan Coretta at an event, and we were paying $200 to attend. I was 29 years old, and I was impressed. So I went to him and I said, wow, I'm impressed that as a general, you're here to learn. He said, yeah, see, most people in Uganda, they don't want to learn. Here is my card. And since then, we've known each other. And so shortly after that, I went back to where I was having my tea from. And this young man, who were in the same age bracket, he said, do you know you were talking to one of the toughest guys in the country? I said, yeah. And of course, mind you, he has a mustache which runs up to here. So indeed, the guy is not a joking subject. I said, yeah. He said, is that a problem? I said, hey, man, do you know? He said, yeah, of course. So for him, he could not imagine this 29-year-old guy, single and skinny, with no big name per se, could engage with this general in the army face to face. That was his perspective. My perspective was, he is a general in the army. A general in the army, which is a unique profession, is meeting a general in coaching, in motivational speaking, in human transformation. Two generals of unique professions, different professions, all playing useful roles in God's kingdom, meeting to say hello. I was celebrating my uniqueness, but you see, where you feel bad about yourself, say, but I'm not able to be like that. I'm not able to do that. I'm not able. Who told you that yourself? You can't do everything. Who told you you have to be like someone? You can only be inspired or get hints on how to become better in something, but you cannot be exactly like someone else. So you have to be at peace and comfortable knowing that you are great at what you're doing. I mean, I know I'm great at what I'm doing. I know I'm outstanding at what I'm doing right now, but give me an Excel sheet to do numbers and calculate things, or give me a computer to code something, or give me those other project management, whatever. I'm going to be stressed out and challenged. So should I feel bad about myself? No, hell no, I'm not. I left that world. I just have to celebrate me the way I am, and also celebrate those people who are comfortable with what they are doing, and just know, and then seek for help when I need help from them. And then they also come to me when they need help from what I have. You see, it's a dance. It's called interdependence. We are meant to depend on each other. So God gave us different abilities. He said, okay, Ethan, for you can coach and speak. So here you are. But then I know there's someone else whom I'm gifting the ability to do plumbing. So I have a phone contact of a plumber, or I'm also going to give an ability to someone who is a doctor. So in case of anything, then I have contacts of a doctor. Say, oh, by the way, Ethan, the other thing is one day you might need a driver. So I have contacts of drivers. So then the world becomes easier. But no person can be everything. Then once you also get that idea of accepting who you are and knowing and celebrating your uniqueness, rather than fighting and comparing and feeling bad about things and feeling about yourself about other people, then it becomes a convoluted world for you. So you just have to, but it starts from you knowing who you are. I know who I am. You need to know who you are. And it starts with you by digging deeper into your purpose. What's your purpose? Because my purpose is to do what I'm doing. So my purpose was not to be in the army. And that is his purpose. So I shouldn't feel bad that I'm not a general, that I don't have a long muscle, that I don't have, escorts around. No. I have divine angels who are escorting me. And I'm sure he also has divine angels, and he also has human escorts that defend him. And that's perfectly fine. That doesn't make any of us more important than the other. Please underline that. No human being is more important than you are. You are all important in God's economy, in God's kingdom, playing different roles. And once you know that, and you accept yourself, and remind yourself that you are okay, then indeed, all is okay, my friend. Starts with acceptance. Kevin says, really thanks for this. Sometimes the enemy for us is fear of not speaking well, not being better. Comparison too sometimes robs self-esteem from us. Yes, be careful of the terrain of comparison, okay? Inspiration, I'm fine with that. Being inspired by someone and you're saying, oh, wow, if they could do that, possibly there's potential in me. But not to feel bad, not to compare yourself, but to seek inspiration. Indeed, Juliet says, when a fish cannot climb a tree, it does not make it of less value than a lion that can climb. Take the two to an ocean, then you will appreciate the fish when it shows its prowess. Even better, I would say monkey, because I know there are few few lions that do that climb. But yeah, indeed, they have different abilities in different contexts. Yeah, great. What else do I want to say? Let me require. Sophie says, I cannot be you, and neither can you be me. We are all unique. We are all unique. Okay, so now let's talk about the skill set, the 5 workable steps to improve on your self-esteem. Number one, awareness. What are your positive and negative triggers? What are those things that really excite you? What are those things that turn you off? And then one of the things you can do then is to increase the things that really excite you. And for the things that trigger you negatively, two strategies. One is learn to accept what is. Number two, minimize your exposure to the negative triggers. Excuse me. So what I mean by that is, for example, there's a time when I could not process Arsenal losing. Okay, I could not process it. So I first moved away for a little while, but then I learned how to process and be at peace with whatever the result comes out. So that's why yesterday I still watched up to the very end and I was okay. So you need to do that. So you need to know and process things accordingly. You need that awareness, first of all. Step two, manage your own story. What do you tell yourself? That's another very, very critical piece. You see, the stories we tell ourselves have immense influence on who we are at a mental, emotional, spiritual, and psychological level. That I cannot emphasize the value of that. So please tell yourself useful stories. The beautiful thing is, not only are you the leading actor and actress, you're also the director and the script writer. So you can rewrite the script. Say, you know what, I choose to be this. I choose to be this. I choose to be amazing. I choose to be happy. You know, our 3.5-year-old, and I keep encouraging, sometimes she comes to me, Daddy, me, I like being happy. Me, I like being happy. Okay. So because she had me encouraging her elder sister, the 7-year-old, said, it's good to be happy. Be happy. So now she adopted it. Me, I like being happy. And tell you what, she's always the life of the home. She's always running, making noise. So that is the story she's telling herself. Me, I like being happy. I'm like, yeah, it's good to be happy. And so that's the key. What do you choose to tell yourself? So if you've been telling you, the trick is to listen to your inner dialogue. What are you telling yourself? What conclusions are you making about yourself? If you find that those narratives you're telling yourself are not helpful, then stop it. Me, my legs are bad. Oh, me, my bum is bad. Oh, me, my chest. Who cares? Just remind you, you can change that. You know what? I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. And you know what? Sometimes, let's say the physicality of us or how we look at our physical appearance, it's because we are comparing it to what the media says out there. I've hinted on this before. And I'm here to propose to you for what the media considers sexy or not sexy. But you know what's amazing? So forget about the global. It is about the person that God has made for you will find you super sexy like there is no tomorrow. That's what it is. Because there was, you know how magnets attract each other? Once a magnet, fireworks will go off. That's what it is, and that's what matters the most. But most importantly, remember, fearfully and wonderfully made. So what story are you telling yourself? Next is practice self-care. Take care of yourself first. You are the engine. You're the most important person in the world. So value yourself. Take care of yourself. It's okay to, during the work and life balance segment, which I would encourage those of us who have access to, who purchase the recordings, please look for the work-life balance segment where I go a little deeper in this subject matter. But you know, you have to honor yourself. You have to take care of yourself. And my coach today was saying, look, if you're tired, it's okay, go rest. Go have some fun. And the key thing is, and my coach has been pushing me to have more fun in my life. He feels I could have more fun, and that's true. So the self-care, you know, is it the massage? Of course, these days, the massage parlors, you know, they are not as accessible as they were then. But what does now self-care is really about? What are those things you need to do for yourself to feel good at a mental, emotional, and spiritual level? What is that? What is that self-care? You know, if you feel that buying some good oil is good, and please, here is the key. Please stop feeling guilty taking care of yourself. There are people who make you feel guilty. You know, all that money is spent on that perfume. Do you know how many kids you could have fed? Wrong mindset. And I have a totally different mindset, and I will tell you why. Because I believe you also need to take care of yourself, because guess what? If you're feeling good about yourself, you have that nice perfume, you have a nice massage, whatever it is, then you will make more money, and that more money will mean you can spend, you can give more to charity. So you take care of yourself first. And what I find amazing again is, some of you have heard me say this before, but I know we have many people on this meeting today who are new, is look, the money you're making should mean something to you. Take care of yourself, my friend. Take care of yourself. And do not let people make you feel guilty about taking care of yourself. Because again, when you're in the plane, they say that when there is a shortage of oxygen and you have a baby, before you pass on the oxygen mask, the baby, first put the mask on you. Because the more you take care of yourself, the more you can take care of others. The more energy you have, the more you know, someone said that the best thing you can do for poor people is not to be among them. And what he meant was, when you're richer, then at least that one person is out of the equation. And guess what? When you're richer, then you can help some of those people who do not have the money. Forgive yourself and forgive others. So please, I believe I went a little deep on this under stress management, but please forgive yourself. We make mistakes. I still make mistakes. And you know what? The first rule, the first key is forgive yourself. Please. Because when you hit yourself and you keep thinking, how stupid could I be? How could I make such a mistake? Now you're pummeling, you're hitting yourself, you're squeezing yourself as esteem to pieces, which means you won't have the space to really feel good about yourself. Forgive yourself, and also remember to forgive others. Because when you don't forgive others, when you forgive, it is forgiving. You're giving yourself. When you forgive others, you're letting go. And the trick is, do what I call I learned it many years ago in 2002 from a gentleman called Tom Pauly. He says, you do the forgiveness letter. Get a letter, write this thing for people who have hurt you, and then at the end say, I choose to let this injury be over for me now. I choose to love you unconditionally, and it is done, something like that. Then once you're done, so by the way, you write about all the things they did to you. You can curse them if you want, if that is your language. Of course, I don't curse, but if that's, you write whatever they made you feel, and then at the end say, I choose to let this injury be over for me now. I let go of this, and I love you unconditionally. You sign it, and then you can burn the paper. I was sharing that tip to someone who lives in one of the developed countries. Say, okay, I don't have where to burn that from. So I said, okay, then you can chop the papers into pieces, get it to then you let go of that energy. Okay, you can put it in the garbage bin. As they take it away, the energy goes. Be of value to others. When you're adding value to others, you feel good. So right now you're seeing me smiling, fine. This is my purpose, but I also know I'm adding value to you. And so I'm feeling good. And therefore my self-esteem is raised, because when you help other people become better, you feel better. And when you're better, when you feel better, your self-esteem goes higher. So one of the simple goals you can make for yourself is, what act of kindness or what sort of value can I add to someone? And it doesn't have to be many people, because we all have different professions. Like my profession allows me to reach millions of people. But even if it is a stranger, even if it's a neighbor, you do something for them without, by the way, expecting a return, then you will feel good. And guess what? You're adding value to the rest of the world, and you're indirectly adding value to you. Okay, that's the good news. And then step 6 is catch yourself doing something right. Appreciate you. Enjoy the moment. In management, I learned that catch someone doing something right from the book, The 1 Minute Manager. It's an excellent book. I read it many years ago when I was still at the university. And it called, for me, the one line I remember there is, catch someone doing something good. But you know what? We also catch ourselves doing something, because there are those managers who want to catch people doing something wrong. But guess what? And then we don't like such managers. But guess what? We sometimes also looking for ways to catch ourselves doing something wrong. And I'm saying, let's use the same psychology and catch ourselves doing something good. I say, yes, you did good. Ethan, you did it fantastic. Ethan, it's great you did that. Oh, that's good you did that. Oh, that's good you did that. Let's have that positive self-talk to appreciate yourself and enjoy the moment. Be present. Then that will make you feel really, really, really good. And that automatically boosts your self-esteem. Number one is, I would encourage you to rate your self-esteem out of 10, where 10 is at world class and 0, you're nowhere to be done. You can take even a mental note now, okay? Then next is, if not at 10, identify at least 3 strategies from this presentation that you can implement right away. And then use the 5-step model above, which I said below, not above, but before, that I raised before, on how to improve your self-esteem. So again, just to give you a quick snapshot, again, for the concerning the strategies, those are the strategies: self-improvements, the environment, being forward-looking, sense of achievement, relations, and then acceptance. And then for skill sets, these are the skill sets that you need in your arsenal to make things happen. And arsenal, I don't mean the football club for now, all right. So yeah, that's your mastery task. Juliet says some self-pampering is needed. A pat in the back to yourself is uplifting. I like that part of pat in your back, because you see, the thing is, then you're in charge of your own self-esteem rather than having to depend on someone else for your self-esteem. That's fantastic concept. So remember to reflect on the following this evening, or if you're watching the recording, it could be morning or whatever it is, or afternoon or morning, depending on which part of the world you are anyway. What did you find most useful in this presentation? And how are you going to implement the lessons moving forward in your life and career / business? Right. Dorothy is asking, is it possible that an insecure leader / supervisor could also have very low self-esteem? Absolutely. Because you see, if you have very high self-esteem, if you follow if someone has the mindsets, the strategies, and the skill sets I've shared, then they don't feel insecure. They should feel secure enough. In fact, they should be, you see, if you feel safe and secure in the world, then you make other people around you to feel secure. If you feel unsafe and insecure in your job, then you make other people to feel insecure. And definitely one of the core causes of leaders or supervisors who feel insecure is because they have low self-esteem. And meaning they have low self-esteem and confidence. It's usually a combination of both, low self-esteem and confidence. Low self-esteem is someone how they feel good, feeling good about themselves, which is what I was focusing on today. Confidence is about you knowing that you have the ability to do something. So if I know I have the ability to do something, to be a great leader, whether in this job or somewhere else, and I love and care about myself and I value myself, then why should I feel insecure? So yes, so the answer is yes, and the long answer is what I've given you. Godfrey is asking, please share any special trick we can undertake to boost self-esteem for groups of people / employees. Oh, that's a great question. Of course, you being an HR professional, you had to think about other groups. The quickest, shortest route I've found, Godfrey, to boost other people's self-esteem is to catch them doing something good. So again, and then you mention it. And one of the best ways to do that also is, don't just mention it one-on-one, mention it in a group. By the way, I was so impressed that Joanne, who was meant to submit a report in 2 weeks, was able to do it within 7 days. Okay, so that automatically boosts someone's self-esteem. Favored, are you in the, Favored, if you are in the group, if you're still around, please let me know, how did you feel when I acknowledged you and celebrated you? Or how, in front of everyone today, how did that make you feel? Did it make you feel even better? You can type in the chat box, let me know. But my suspicion is, of course, you can guess what my suspicion is. So celebrate people, celebrate their successes in public, because the poor managers usually, they want to criticize in public and then celebrate people in private. No, it should be the other way around. If you have to challenge someone, do it privately so that you keep their self-esteem intact. And then to celebrate them, do it publicly. Now they will feel like swelling. It's like, it's not just you saying the good things. It's like the whole group now is saying all those good things, and that elevates them. So for me, that if I was to look for one trick, that would be it, celebrating them. And I would also add the one tip I learned in terms of child psychology, and that is not to just tell someone how great they are, but also qualify it. So what is recommended in child psychology is not to just say, you know, you're such a smart kid because they scored 80%. So what I learned, which was profound, was say, oh, you know what? You're a really smart kid. That means you really worked hard at this. Yeah. So meaning, because when they just say smart, but where did smartness come from? From working hard and focused. That means you're smart and focused. Or I mean, that means you worked hard and you are focused. So to boost the self-esteem of this, let's say someone has done something good. Let's continue with the idea, with the analogy of John. Submitted a report ahead of time. So I could add, and that also tells me how dedicated and committed she is and actually values her work and profession and career. So not only am I celebrating her, I am also celebrating the qualities that made her do that, which means that Joan is going to practice those qualities of dedication, of drive, of commitment, which will mean more productivity, which will mean she will feel good about herself, even if you don't celebrate her again. And of course, she will most likely attract more celebration. Okay. Dorothy and Godfrey, let me know if I've answered your question. Juliet says, you say that we should minimize things that put us off. In case it's your supervisor, how do you handle to still maintain, how do you handle that and still maintain your positivity? That's a great question. So if it's your supervisor, for example, in case it's your supervisor, how do you handle? Number one is to remember, people are entitled to their opinions. That doesn't make them facts. Oh, I like that. People are entitled to their opinions, and that doesn't make them facts. And sometimes they are facts, sometimes they are good opinions, but that doesn't make it always a fact. So if someone does that or is attacking you and that sort of thing, ask yourself, is this the truth? Could they be having a point? Because sometimes we are attacked or challenged and it's the truth. We are falling short. So work on it. Don't take it personal. The other thing that my coach keeps reminding me of is never take anything personal. Don't take it personal. So that's one. That's tip number one, of course. Don't take it personal. And number two is, of course, if it's true, work on it. Then number three is, remember, if your supervisor is challenging you or they are rubbing you the wrong way, remember to remind yourself that what they are challenging or questioning is your behavior. You're not the core, because the core you, the spiritual being you, is untouchable once again. And then finally, just choose and say, you know what, regardless of what's happening, I choose to feel good about myself. I choose to celebrate myself. I choose to focus on what's possible. So use all these skills I was giving you, being positive, paying attention to the story you're telling yourself, because now you might end up, dragging yourself into so many negative stories. Or why is it me? Why am I? No, find a positive story to tell yourself. Find an enlightening story. You know what? Regardless of my mistake today, regardless of what he thinks about me, at least I know I've contributed so much to this organization. And at least God is my witness. I've done so many good, positive things. So you find stories that can enliven you or pull you up. Related in simple terms, how do you build a work culture that boosts self-esteem? Yeah, so Godfrey, I'll give you an example for let me start from home. My daughters, sometimes they just, I know these days it has reduced a bit, but they would say, oh, you're a bad girl. And now they know that Dad does not accept those negative words. So I say, you know what? That's always say positive things to each other. It's always important to say positive things to one another. So they come reporting me. So when they report to me, I tell them the value of telling each other positive things. So that has reduced, not yet out, but they could keep making negative conclusions against each other. So the part of it then is become the teacher, share with them, tell them the value of celebrating one another, saying positive things to one another, and lifting one another. And one of the, see that what is affirmed is repeated. So if you see someone say something positive about another person, then give an example. So, oh, by the way, John, I like the fact that you celebrated so and so. Now you're passing on a message that celebrating others is something positive. How does one improve confidence as part of self-esteem? So, Emily, for you, at least you attended the confidence training. Number one, I'll give you the short answer and the long. The short answer is revisit the confidence package, how to supercharge your confidence for just when you access those recordings. The short answer is there are many tricks, but the quickest I've found that really works is work on your abilities, improve your skill set, and also journal where you have achieved things, where you have accomplished things. Because confidence is about you believing that you have the ability to achieve something. Okay? Betty is asking, how do you maintain your self-esteem when faced with fear or panic, especially when answering hard questions from a group of leaders? Well, the challenge, that's a powerful question. The challenge, of course, is time. Let me give you the quick, if I was to boil it to one thing, what would that be? One or two things. One is you need to stay calm, okay? When faced with fear or panic. So fear, where does fear come from? There are so many sources of fear, but one of those is imagining that the worst is going to happen. So number one is I want you to imagine possibility that things are going to happen in a good way for you. Number two, tell yourself a different story again, because then you have a negative story you're telling yourself. That's what makes the fear. Oh, these guys might ask me a difficult question. Oh, I'm fearful for her. These guys, by the way, last time they criticized so and so. So you start telling yourself these negative stories, and that affects your breathing. It puts your brain in a lock, and you're in a fearful state. And that is never helpful, as you can imagine. So number one is breathe, focus on your breath. That will calm you down. Therefore, your brain will be much clearer. Then, of course, tell yourself positive things. And then number three is be present, be fully present. And finally, regardless of what these people say, what they will say or not say, that does not take away the value, the quality, the specialness. I hinted on earlier, if you attended this segment earlier, Betty, to know that you're a special lady and you're a child of God. If you're a child of God, it doesn't matter what people say. That doesn't change your identity. That doesn't change your national ID. That doesn't change, it's not even a national ID. It's your global ID. That doesn't change your spiritual ID. Your spiritual ID is that you're Betty, the ambassador of God on planet Earth. So they are entitled to their opinion. That doesn't make it a fact. And of course, I would encourage you to access the recordings and review this. Okay, good. And the rest of us, if I'm responding to your questions, let me know if I'm responding to your questions or if the answers make sense. How do you encourage openness among employees, save for open mind, heart, and door policy? Olivier, I'll give you an example. What I've done at Success Africa is I keep saying it over and over and over again. And it is much easier when you're the top leader. And so in my context, it is much easier. But if you are a supervisor, for example, and you have a smaller team, that's something you have to keep saying over and over again and tell them how safe they are and whoever gives open feedback, encourage them, tell them, oh, that's fantastic that you're candid and open. So that if especially if someone raises something that challenges you, celebrate that. So then you'll be passing on a message to people to say, hey, by the way, it's perfectly fine for you to criticize or challenge me. Then over time, people will pick it up. So celebrate those who are giving feedback and also thank them when they give you that challenging feedback. Favored was responding to what I asked. Thank you, Ethan. I felt special and it boosted my confidence further. Really small things matter a lot. You are very right. Yeah, there you go. You have and again, I didn't say it for the purposes of raising our confidence and self. It's something I felt. And of course, you've heard me say that even before, a couple of days before, to boost morale. Betty says, thank you. All right, great. So I would really like to thank you and celebrate you for being with me. I know that whether you verbalized it or not, your good thoughts, I know you had good intentions towards all this that we've done or worked on. It's 50 days. It's 50. I've never done this in my life where I've had 50 non-stop days of standing for at least 2 hours and doing this. So I really would like to thank you for your prayers, for your encouragement, for you attending here and playing full out. It has made my life and it has added a lot of value to my life and career and well-being, so to speak. So just know I celebrate you. I know you've been saying all the good things, and at the same time, just know that I celebrate you. I also like to thank Team Success Africa, people like Kabugo, who was central with the content. Originally, by the way, some of this content, the person who I was very central at the beginning for the version 1.0 was Julia. And so I really celebrate her also and then Kabuga has been central in terms of us upgrading to version 2.0. Of course, there are people like Nathan, Patricia, Andrew, Samantha. They have been very, very key in terms of playing full out. So I really thank you so much. And in case you land onto this, may the good Lord bless you as you use the tricks, techniques, and strategies and share them with the rest of the world. That way, all of us are growing and expanding and going to the much, much higher level. Wow, it's time. I like the kind words that you're sharing. Felista says, thank you so much for the insightful sessions. Jacqueline says, thank you, Ethan, for devoting your time to these sessions. That's Jacqueline Bonavana, Felista. Emily Bagarukaya, thank you, Ethan, for all the sessions you have given us. We are blessed to have been here. May God bless you abundantly. Oluma says, thank you, Ethan, for blessing us in these 50 days. God enlarge and increase you. Emily Bagarukaya, Mukama Chikubarire, meaning let God be the one to bless you. Dorothy Opani says, thank you, Ethan and team. How did we get to the 50th day? Feels like we just began yesterday. I'm inspired. Yeah, me too. It's amazing. Yeah, when we were starting, I was like 50 days, but now. And Nancy says, thank you very much, Ethan and the entire team Success Africa. You're welcome. Olivier says, we are counting our blessings here. You are one of them. Yeah, thank you, Olivier. And you've definitely all been a blessing. Betty says, Ethan, because of your generosity, you're the best, the greatest, and richest, for knowledge is power. Thank you. I am forever changed. Thank you, Betty, for your kind words. I pray you can send out an email and we know your full name and what you do. Godfrey Kalonji says, I employed the Spark in doing interviews and I'm here trying to decide which offer to sign. Thank you, Ethan. Even after 10 years interviewing others, I found it extra helpful. There you go. The guy has multiple offers by using the Spark formula for interviewing, in passing oral interviews. Congratulations, Godfrey. Please send us those details and the blessings that we can celebrate the results you've gotten out of this. Well done. Well done. I'm proud of you and I know you deserve this. I can tell you're a good-hearted man. Juliet Weiss, thanks. Juliet Weiss will say, thanks, Ethan and team, for being generous to share with us your knowledge. You're welcome. Katie, thanks, Ethan and team, for the sessions. But with you, it has been a great experience for me. I've learned a lot and we face the world differently. Let me say thank you, Team Success Africa. Tadeo, thanks very much. It's a blessing to have you. May God continue blessing you. Mima Hamza, it was really great time with you and Team Success. Mima Hamza, Grace Kigenyi Sengendo, live from Japan. Thanks, Ethan, and the entire team for the invaluable knowledge. Grace Nakabonge, God bless you, Ethan. Thank you, team, too. May the good Lord bless